Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Saturday, the 15th of November, 2025. We'll start, as always, with the synoptic. Looking initially yesterday at lunchtime, this series of low pressures to the south and southwest of the UK. See, bring the very, very poor weather that we saw yesterday associated with this storm that we have at the moment. So nothing achieved here yesterday on the flying side. Overnight, that picture has changed slightly. That occlusion still over us, bringing more rain and the wind. But by midday today, still that system of low pressures to the southwest in line with the Bay of Biscay. But the south of the UK has a brief period of clear. The occlusion still just sort of hovering in the channel there off the south coast, not moving towards us overnight or throughout the day. And into the next few days, possibly some fairly brisk northerlies, which could be very useful if the cloud remains off. Monday looking like a potential south downs day. Looking at the SATPIC for today again, quite a lot of cloud across much of the country. We'll be avoiding most of the rain, it would seem, but plenty of cloud to the south and the north around where our position is as well. Brief area of clear on the south coast, but very, very damp air still. So there's a possibility of this inland cloud making its way down towards us and spoiling things slightly. Here we have the rain radar. Not a great deal to concern us with there. Plenty of rain to the north and down in France and the Channel, but we're remaining vaguely clear. And if we run it through for today on the Met Office, it appears to be much the same with this area of sort of very light precipitation working its way in from the northeast, arriving later today. Farnborough, they've got a TAF out now. They're giving us 070 degrees, 4 knots today, so a fairly light northeasterly wind. With initially visibility 300 meters of fog, becoming visibility of greater than 10 kilometers with no significant weather. Scattered at 2,000 feet, a prob 30 for mid-afternoon. Of 6,000 meter vis broken at 900 feet, becoming 7,000 broken at 600. There's also a tempo between 3 and 6 this afternoon of 3,000 meter vis with a light rain and drizzle, mist and broken at 100 feet. Spot winds to the south, northeasterly or northeasterly and actually east-southeasterly at 15 knots, and to the north, much the same, around 15 knots at flying height today. And on the ground, a sort of moderate northeasterly flow across the airfield there. And we can see that looking at the local Met Office forecast. Speeds of no more than sort of 4 or 5 knots throughout today, fairly light indeed, gusting just north of 10. Fairly poor visibility. And if we look at the pictorial forecast showing mist arriving sort of 3 o'clock, and that largely depends on the progression of that sort of area of moisture from the northeast. Temperature-wise, looking 13 or 14 degrees today, light winds, and should be a fair amount of sun to begin with a dew point of fairly close, around 10 or 11 degrees as well. Locally now, we're up to 11.4 degrees with a dew point of 9.8. And that's the view looking to the west. You can see that northeasterly flow and a cloud base that is gradually increasing. We're getting a little bit less sun on the ground. Some low clouds seen just over the trees on the north side there. But hopefully it remains clear enough for us to operate it for most, if not all, of the day. Looking now here at the cross-section on Skyside, not quite so optimistic, showing a little bit of sort of mist early morning, but clearing and being fairly sort of high cloud base there from between sort of 9 and 10:30, and then lower cloud forming at sort of below 1,000 feet, gradually increasing up to somewhere in the region of just north of 1,000 feet before then deteriorating again later into the day. So hopefully we can move this up a little bit and have a bit more of a usable window, but we will monitor that and see how it progresses. On the other hand, top meteo here with the cloud distribution starting at 9 o'clock, showing quite a lot of low cloud the orange is below 500 feet and the yellow is below 2,000 feet and 1,000 feet. We run that through, you can see mid-morning it's looking, there's a lot of low-level cloud below 500 feet. And then mid to late morning into the early afternoon, it opens up. We get sort of base of around 2,000 feet, maybe 1,500 feet before flagging in just as it starts to get dark. So it might be the case that we have a deteriorating cloud situation earlier in the morning before we get an improvement later on in the day. No temps, very little to discuss there, nothing of significance. So we can move on to the glider bookings. We have 2 K21s today on booked flying and 1 on the casual list. There's also a K13 on trial lessons, and the youth group are splitting a K13 and a K21 between them. We have plenty of single seater availability today, and the simulator is, of course, available as normal. We have nothing to report today as far as movements are concerned, and a reminder that SFCL rules are in force. So in summary, we have a low pressure to the southwest with an occluded front just sitting off to the bottom of the south coast. Broken cloud throughout today with a varying base and a northeasterly flow across the airfield. We'll be operating on runway 09 today, and that'll be winter ops for launching but still landing on the grass. And just a reminder, please be ready when the cable or tug arrives. As always, do not land or taxi across the disused runways shown here in red. And here is our airfield setup with the launch point vehicle in the middle of the runway, winching on the hard, but from the south, that and aerotoning to the north. That's all for me this morning. We'll see you out there shortly. Let's hopefully have a good day and keep it safe. Thank you.